All right. It is 9:29. I'm going to call the Souhegan emergency meeting to order. Um, the first thing we need to do is George Torres is online with us. And George, can you just let us know if it's impossible for you to, or difficult for you to be here, and if you are alone?
Yes, hi. It's impossible for me to be there. I am currently on my way into Boston and I am alone.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we have one matter in front of us right now, based on,
Could I make a statement before you discuss the matter, which is going to dispose of the matter, and we can get down to the thing that we really need to do?
I think we need to make this motion first.
Oh.
And then you can,
Then I can voluntarily step down on a temporary basis from chair of the board until the matter is resolved? Or can I do that now?
go ahead and speak.
I voluntarily step down as chair of this board on a temporary basis until this matter of the harassment allegation has been disposed. I would like Stephanie Grund, our vice chair, be my preference for her to stand in as acting chair in that interim process, and that I request that the remaining of you, with my in abstention, select your vice chair, acting vice chair. That's
Okay, thank you for that. One other thing that we do need to make a motion on is then to ask that Mr. Glover is been removed from all his committee appointments. He can attend meetings with other employees or board members involved, but meeting one-on-one is not going to be possible at the time. We have to make sure that we're protecting our employees, so we do need to make a motion that he is also being removed from his committee assignments for the time being. Until any action is taken based on investigative report received at the SAU. I need that to be a motion. Okay, do I have a second? And then we can discuss.
Yes. Second and then discussion.
All right, Steve. Yes, seconds. Discussion?
So the committee I care about is policy committee. John and I are both there, and that is always a large group. There's never
Yes. So as
small
long,
discussions.
yes. So as long as there is a group of people, my understanding is that that is okay.
So this will not be removing him from the policy committee then.
Right. It's only if there's a one-on-one issue.
Do we have any one-on-one committees?
Let's see.
I've been in watching the school boards and been a part of the school boards for a lot of years, and I've never, ever in my entire experience been alone in a room with anyone, other board members, school officials, teachers, staff, children, not once in my memory. And I can imagine that Steve Coughlin, having served longer and been around longer than I have, has had a similar experience.
Yeah, I think the concern is while we were in budget discussions at the time, there's a potential chance that there is a one-on-one.
I will say that occasionally, for specific policies, we've had little two-person working groups to come back with recommended language. So I've been in the room alone with either another board member or staff member from time to time, but that hasn't happened with this policy committee in quite a while.
Okay.
So it's rare.
Any other discussion?
I
Mr. Glover.
the language of that motion is ambiguous. And if it starts out, remove Mr. Glover from all committee assignments, then that's pretty clear, but that's not what it's trying to do, apparently. So I urge you to amend the motion to be clear as to its intent and purpose. If the purpose is to prohibit me from being in any situation alone with an employee of the SAU and the district, if that's the way it's going to be, I don't know where you want to, how deep that goes. Seems like the SAU people are the ones that are affected by the complaint that hasn't been seen yet. But then say that. And then otherwise, committee assignments should remain intact so I can go do the good work of this board. I mean, is the goal to put me in a cave and not hear from me until this thing is over? Or am I still a board member willing to serve the community and provide input and feedback and votes and debate and deliberation on all the important matters that are on our agendas? It's a fundamental philosophical question you need to ask yourselves of what you want. And what you see my role as being during this process. And may I remind you that due process requires someone at some point to make a public statement that I am to be presumed innocent until such time as I'm not. So, I mean, that notice is in waiting. So just please be clear as to what your aims and intentions are.
One second. All right. Okay, so any other discussion on that, on where anyone feels? I think,
So can I ask what other committees John is on?
I'm trying to remember, so it's NHSBA, you were rep,
Yeah, there's no school officials associated with the NHSBA
and policy.
policy.
Communication with me, with,
That's also not with
not with an S.
not with any district, SAU, school-related
Yeah,
people.
so it's the budget, it's one concern could be budget,
Budget
where you-
subcommittee work is completed.
yes.
Those were also attended by multiple people, every one of them. The only budget remaining work done now is our budget workshop, which will be our body plus the Souhegan Advisory Finance Committee, large group of people, like the first budget workshop. There may be a third budget workshop that would be the same.
Right.
There's the Lawrence Spalding Committee. That hasn't met. Yeah, okay. Thanks.
think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the other
I don't,
thing.
yeah, fair enough. Thank you, Pam, for looking that up.
Yeah, I just said communication, yeah.
Okay.
So potentially a rewording could be made where Mr. Glover be removed from, or limit his participation in committees. Limit his, I'm trying to think of the right wording.
Where there's a tenets of two or less.
I, maybe easiest just to say, limit Mr. Glover's participation in any board activity that does not have another board member present. So then automatically,
In person.
in.
We're not talking about Zooms, are we? Yes, we must be.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah, I
it
think
just,
we have to be.
So it has to be in any, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, in
That
any
makes
board
sense.
activity, there must be another board present.
Yes.
member present.
Phone calls
Yeah,
included.
yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, to be clear, let's
Any
figure
board
out
activity.
what this looks like.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
That would seem to cover it. I mean, that solves the problem we're trying to solve and still allows you to fulfill your duty.
And how does that square with communication? What was the
That's you and I.
communication
we were-
to the superintendent is limited to superintendent? Or not anymore, as a temporarily not the chair, communications would go through you
As communication.
as
to the public,
acting chair, and then that
and be communication to the
to,
public.
and that would go to whomever, yet communication to the public would now come through you as acting chair. And I would, if I had something to say,
Right.
you send it to you, you consolidate everything or whatever, and then you send delivering the messages. Okay, I
So
get that. That's,
I'm going to try
that
and
makes
reword
sense.
this. So based on the action taken at the SAU meeting, we're making a motion to ask Mr. Glover to limit his participation in any board activity that does not have another board member present until any action is taken based on the investigative report received at the SAU. With this effort, we are also offering protection for the SAU employees to create a safe working environment.
Stephanie, we don't know if there's going to be an investigation, as we discussed at the last meeting.
I think the language that we settled on was until the matter is resolved.
Yeah,
Until-
that's,
And that
So action based on
someday we'll say this is over, one way or the other.
hopefully in 2
the
weeks.
matter is resolved. Okay, let's try this one. All right. Based on the action taken at the SAU meeting and making a motion, Mr. Glover will limit his participation in any board activity that does not have any board member present until any action is taken based on, or any action is taken,
No, just until the matter.
just until the matter is resolved. That is it, yes. Until the matter is resolved at the SAU. Are we okay?
Yeah, you're asking me to
Would you like to revise your
revise
motion?
my motion to that, yes.
Do we have a second to that revision?
Second to that, yeah.
All right, any discussion on the revision?
Can we just take a little pause? I think John's
Yes.
thinking about, does it work? I'm thinking whether it works. Let's
Think,
think for a minute.
Maybe it should be reread one more time smoothly.
based on the action taken at the SAU meeting and making a motion that Mr. Glover limit his participation in any board activity that does not have another board member present or until the matter is resolved at the SAU.
Can we
Okay.
throw in that John's innocent at this point?
No,
He
we
mentioned
we
it
cannot make a
twice.
determination. We do not have facts.
No. I mean that you're innocent until proven guilty, and he said it better than I ever could, but
But that doesn't have anything to do with his participation in committees.
So that'd be a different resolution if we had a resolution like that.
okay.
Make sense? Thoughts?
I think it works.
Thoughts? George, do you have any comments?
None at this time, thanks.
Okay. Okay, let's take a roll call vote since George is online and not present. Mr. Gronstein?
Yes.
Peters, yes.
Taylor, yeah.
Grund, yes.
Coughlin, yes.
Glover abstain.
George?
Torres, yes.
Okay. That motion passes. And that is it for the public part of the meeting. We have a non-public portion. Is,
And it came from John, but
Yeah.
did you say that we have to put an interim vice chair in place?
I suggested it.
I don't think we have
We
to.
don't have to.
You don't, I don't know
No,
that you have
not-
to.
Not until there's any
We're-
resolution.
We're gonna hope for quick resolution.
I would think our leadership structure is, Laura is the secretary, so I would think that if Stephanie was sick or couldn't attend, then Laura would run the floor. I'm just as a matter of succession.
Mhm,
Yeah, it's
mhm,
not in the policy, but that's been the practice.
Right, it makes sense.
Okay.
Or if,
Uh,
yeah, or the
okay.
board could decide on an ad hoc basis, I suppose, too.
So I will I need a motion to go into non-public based on RSA 91A3, 2A and C.
We'll make that. We have a public comment? Period
Well, we
or
don't
emergency?
have one because it's an emergency meeting. So I don't think we can entertain that.
I am.
I'd like to motion that we have a public comment
I would
period.
second that.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Quick roll call vote.
Steve's like, what?
Glover, yes.
We'll keep it.
Coughlin, no.
Grund, yes.
Taylor, yes.
Peters, yes.
Gronster, yes.
George?
I'll entertain it. Torres, yes.
Okay. We'll open up for public comment. Would anyone like
course.
to speak? Can we give him a mic?
Oh.
When you approach the table, what will have a mic on it, please state your name and where you live.
Dwayne Purvis, Amherst, New Hampshire. Now that you guys are officially assembled, and given the discussion, and again, thanks for enabling people to express themselves, I don't think it fell on deaf ears, but the SAU is not a school board. You guys are, and you have an issue that needs to be fixed. And I just want to say, rather than let it fester, it needs to be fixed. I'm talking about the issue with Carl Benavides. I got every confidence you're going to get this thing fixed. But with the band director, there are young people whose futures are impacted by this and can no longer tolerate that this thing festers or flaps in the wind or whatever does not appear to be going on. I would just ask you guys as the governing body to fix this matter. And as opposed to waiting for someone to tell you what to do, you're the governing body. Fix it. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else for comment? Okay, we are going to close the public part of the meeting. And again, we're going to go into non-public based on RSA 91A3, 2A and C. And I have a motion.
Thank you, fellow. public
Second,
I'll second.
members of the
can we have a
citizens.
quick roll call vote?
Peters, yes.
Taylor, yes.
Grund, yes.
Elfin, yes.
Glover, yes.
George?
George, yes.
All right. Thanks.